One of my followers asked me to rank the JJK arcs from worst to best, and I thought this was going to be a really easy video, but this was actually really difficult, so let's talk. Just a quick PSA before some of you come for me saying the Itadori Extermination Arc is not an arc. I'm going off the Jujutsu Wiki, and it says it has 11 arcs, and it does count that, so do what you will with that information. Alright, starting us off at number 11, we have the Death Painting arc, which isn't a bad arc. I did really enjoy watching it at the end of season 1, and it is a really good read-through in the manga, but there are just so many good arcs within Jujutsu Kaisen that one had to be at the very bottom of this list. I did really enjoy this arc for the reason that we got information on Sumiki, and we got to meet Yuji's brothers, which was pretty cool. Just know that the number 11 spot on this list changed so many times while I was writing it that I physically had to stop myself, and this is what ended at number 11. At number 10, we have a lot of people's first introduction to Jujutsu Kaisen, the Fearsome Womb arc. And if you're unsure which arc that is, that's the one that started off the anime. Whether you like it or not, there really is no bad arc in JJK, but some of them had to be lower than others. This arc is great. We literally get to see Sukuna rip Yuji's heart out, and he starts taking an interest in Megumi. No spoilers there or anything. Coming in at number 9, we have the Kyoto Goodwill event. This arc was really difficult for me to rank because it originally started at 11, but then I remember how much Todo carried this arc, and this fight with Yuji and Todo versus Hanami, peak. I really like the world building in this arc, but outside of Todo and this fight right here, I was just bored watching this, and overall, I really did not like Mekamaru's character that much. Sue me. Number 8, we've got one of the most controversial quote-unquote arcs of the whole series, the Itadori Extermination Arc. This arc might be a little too high on the list for some of y'all, but I'm a Yuta fan, so I'm a little biased. If this arc were longer, it would be higher on the list, but it's so short, so we've got it sitting at number 8. Number 7, we've got the Verse Mahito arc. Mahito is one of those characters you either love him or hate him, and if you love him, it says a lot about your character. The main reason I've got this arc at number 7 is because we get introduced to the suit-turned-sorcerer, Kento Nanami. There's another character we get introduced to who tragically disappears from the series because he is... but I don't really like him, and that is Junpei. That might be a little bit of a controversial opinion, but I really did not care for Junpei's death. So sorry. Number 6, we've got the Cursed Child arc. This is the arc that kickstarted the whole series. We started off by getting introduced to Yuta Okotsu, a troubled teenager who's been through a lot of tragedy. He gets introduced to the world of curses and Jujutsu sorcery. In my opinion, this was a great way to get the series off the ground because we get introduced to a lot of cool, interesting characters, especially Gojo, and then we get a lot of good action and we get to see the fight between Yuta and Geto. At number 5, we have the Shibuya Incident arc, one of the more dark and sinister arcs of the series where we get to see Kenjaku's plan finally get moved into motion. This arc got extremely hyped up in the previous volumes due to the fact that the curses kept referencing October 31st in Shibuya, and we didn't know exactly what they had planned, and I really think that it lived up to the hype. We had death, we had controversy, we had amazing fights, we even got to see Sukuna go on a rampage, and our boy Megumi finally summoned Maharaga, which further piqued the interest of none other than Sukuna. I really might be the problem in my life because I'm starting to realize I really enjoy darkness in my writing and in TV shows. At number 4, we have Gojo's past arc, and I'm not going to lie to you guys, I really slept on this arc when I first read through the manga. It took seeing it animated and going back and rereading it to really appreciate the beauty of what this arc was. I have this one inside our top 5 because we always knew that Satoru Gojo was the strongest, but this just shows us how he got to where he was. This arc is actually so good that it is going to be coming to theaters in 2025. It's either really good, or it's just the fact that they weren't ready to drop season 3 yet. Either or, take your pick. I like this arc because we get introduced to Toji, we learn about the Star Plasma Vessel, which is some really important information regarding Tengen, so overall this arc was very good for me. We finally made it to our top 3, so at number 3 we have the Perfect Preparation arc. This is another one of those dark and twisted arcs where we get a lot of things that happen in a short amount of time, but I really think that Maki and Mai carry this arc. And by a short amount of time, I'm pretty sure this was like, 14 chapters? This also is the one where we learn that Kenjaku is the one controlling Geto's body. For real though, we get Principal Yaga's execution, the annihilation of the Zenin family, Mai makes the ultimate sacrifice to make Maki more powerful, so in exchange for Mai's life, Maki gets the heavenly restriction, and above all else, towards the very end of this arc, we get introduced to the GOAT, Kinji Hikari. Now at number 2, I have the Shinjuku Showdown arc. This arc is absolutely insane, it has so much going on. We get to see the Gojo and Sukuna fight, which when it's all said and done, that might be one of the greatest fights in shonen history. You can fight me on that opinion because my bias for JJK might be showing, but it is what it is, that's my opinion. Now after the ultimate and subsequential death of Satoru Gojo, without mourning, Kashimo hops into the battle, and it starts the gauntlet from there. We see countless sorcerers step up to take their crack at Sukuna after that, and he just starts smacking them all left and right. Some of them come back multiple times, get smacked again, but some of them do some amazing damage to him, like Maki and Yuta. But before Yuta even shows up, him and Takaba were on a secret mission to take down Kenjaku, and ultimately they succeeded. We finally, after getting edged throughout the series, get to see Yuta's domain, which was absolutely beautiful, and the fan arts are amazing. Chef's kiss. The main problem with this arc is it felt like Gege kept giving Sukuna more and more plot armor, and what a lot of the fans of the series need to understand, when this gets animated, it's going to be happening in quick succession of one another, so it's not going to feel as dragged out as the chapters did. It was a really hard decision to put this one at number 2, and honestly, it's up in the air because my number 1 and number 2 choices kind of alternate back and forth, but without further ado, let's get to number 1. At number 1 on our list, we have the Culling Game arc. It might be a little controversial putting this at number 1, but like I just said, sometimes it slides to number 2, sometimes it slides to number 1. It all really depends on the day and how I'm feeling, but overall, I feel like this arc was a masterpiece. It's even crazier because Gege didn't feel completely satisfied with the way that this arc turned out because he wanted it to be more of like a battle royale, and it turned into what we got. But I feel like what we got was amazing in its own right. The quest to save Sumiki and free Gojo, then we get one of the hardest nicknames in all of fiction, the disgraced one or the fallen one, which is Sukuna, and then we get a crazy plot twist at the very end of this arc where Sukuna switches from Yuji's body to Megami's body. Not to mention all the amazing fights we get along the way. We get to see an unhinged Megami use his domain, we get to see Hikari's domain, we get teased about a 3-way domain, we get introduced to amazing characters like Takaba and Higuruma. It was just such an amazing arc, and I really wish Gege would give himself more credit for this one. Let me know what your guys' lists would look like down in the comments, and tell me if there's anything you think I should change about mine for the future. Peace.